Happy Friday, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Bareham Engines. So guys, bit of bad news, unfortunately. I'm not feeling too great today. I've got a bit of a cold, so I probably won't be attending the Chivner track day down at Chivner, believe it or not, tomorrow in the kit car. So yeah, unfortunately guys, the reason I was going to do it is to give the car a bit of a shakedown. It's a local meet. I think they've got permission to do 8 or 10 track days this year, which is absolutely fantastic. It's on our doorstep, but tomorrow looks horrible weather. I feel pretty rough, to be honest with you. I weren't going to come in today, but I've got plenty to do, so I thought I would come in, but I don't feel very well, and I don't think it's a great idea to drash around in the rain and cold in an open top kit car. So I'm just going to probably leave it for tomorrow, which is unfortunate, but we are going to be definitely going to get a bit of a test in before our track day at Cosworth. And give it a bit of a shakedown. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Whether we go to Perranporth at the beginning of next month, I don't know. But yeah, really looking forward to getting that thing done. Right, first things first, guys, the Rover. We're going to go on about that in a moment. Isaac has stripped it down, so I'm going to give you a sort of run over the K-Series Rover. So these are the K-Series where you've got the 1800, the 1400, 1600 is it? They do? I'm not sure whether they do the 16, can't remember now. But yeah, I'll run you over that in a minute, guys. But first of all, we're doing the second head for the Cosworth for Stuart here. He's sent in another head as well as that engine. So I'm just doing that on the milling machine. We've got the valves here. We actually had 3 bent valves, so I expect this thing's had a clang up at some point. Here's the head here. Now this is its third cut at 3 thou. The header's down at about 30 thou took off it in the past, and you can see the back there where the piston has clouted the head. It's had a bit of a disaster. Now whether that's because it's had an end go in the time, no. Now and again, if you've got a big end that's gone really that bad, the head will come up and clout the piston, sorry, will come up and clout the cylinder head. But you can see it's impacted it so bad that it's pushed the aluminium out round the back there, and that's blew the gasket. So not sure what the history is of that, guys, but definitely it's had a bend of the valves. Whether someone has just put it down with some force on its face with the cams in at some point, or it has had a cam belt break, but distinctly 3 bent valves in there. Usually if one of these has had a good old belt break, then it'll do all the valves or most of them on one side at the very least. So I don't know. In case you're wondering what this beautiful diff is all about, guys, that is the E30 diff. So I'll be showing you more about that in the second channel, but yeah, looking absolutely fantastic. So yeah, look out for our second channel, guys. The end of today, we are going to be getting the kit car out of here, taking it over Stuart's, where he's going to kindly store it for us. We're going to be bringing the E30 in here to put the engine, which is over there, the gearbox and the differential and prop shaft in the car. And basically the week after next weekend, which is Easter, Tom Upton's going to be having the car, and he's going to be making an exhaust system for us. Plus he's going to be doing that work mounting the cage to the front of the diff. So yeah, I'll explain more about that in the second channel, guys. If you haven't watched our second channel, I'll put a link in the description below. Please head over there and give us a like and a subscribe if you would. That would be fantastic. So guys, the Rover, lovely little engine this, massive fan of this. It's such a light, compact little engine. The only flaw with this design is the fact that you can see this has got steel dowels. That is a modification. The original engines come with plastic dowels, believe it or not. I mean, why you would ever put plastic, whether it was to save money, that is ridiculous. But what tends to happen is, you can see these holes here. The head studs are quite long. They're probably a foot or so long. They go straight through the head, down through the block here, and then underneath they bolt into the crank carrier that goes here. So it's a through bolt system, sort of holds all the engine together. The only trouble is with that, because they're a long bolt, it sort of allows the head to shift when it gets hot. and because of the plastic dowels, it does actually move, blows the head gasket. So part of the modification for these was to put steel head gasket, head dowels in, so the head can't move, and an uprated head gasket. And if you've had to skim some off the head, because the gasket tended to wear into the head face, especially when they got hot, they do like a saver shim. You put under the head, then your head gasket, and it sort of brings it all back up. And after that, you tended to never have any trouble with them. Very rarely got involved with the bottom end. But this one here has had a gasket blow up. It's a race motor, so we've stripped it to see what's going on. You can see that this thing has had extensive sort of balancing. Now, looking at these balance marks, we've seen that before, haven't we, guys? That looks to me like it's been balanced as a complete rod, as opposed to end for end. So we'll be definitely checking out how far that is out on the ends. The liners, smart little design. This is a wet liner type, which means that the liner is independent to the block. So it is a slide in. So you can see it's a very sort of nice snug sliding fit. So we should be cleaning this. Now, when I said to you in the last video about checking the liner heights, we like to run these about 2 or 3 thou proud of the block face, and that allows the gasket to bite into that liner and get a good seal. You don't want them too proud, because it basically will allow the gasket to weep water to the outside, but you don't want them flush, because the gasket won't bite into that liner. And what tends to happen is then for the liners sink, the liner is then lower than the block face, and it will blow the gasket. So to check these, what I want to do is, I said to Isaac, that's why I take them out, give them a thorough clean, and make sure that they're seating in the base of the block good and proper, so you get a true reading from the deck height to see what the protrusion is. And then what we have to do when we put new liners in, what I tend to do is obviously clean it all, put them in. We deck the block first very lightly to get a nice clean finish on here, and then we have to top each individual liner and mark them and get our sort of 2 to 3 thou protrusion. But you can see after getting these out, guys, why I like to clean them before I measure them, because you can see how cruddy that has got there, where water's been sitting down and corroded the base of that liner. So we'll get that on the wire wheel, or in the vapor blaster, and we'll clean all the base of that there, and put them in and see what we've got. Right, guys, it is that time. We're underneath the Barham engine sign. Time for a moan. Whether you're sick to death of hearing about this, or you're excited because as soon as you see me under this sign, you know that there's going to be drama, I don't know. But I'm in a right old tiz this week, guys, and I need your advice. Whether you're going to completely tear me a new one in the comments, I don't know. But basically, this is about the claim on the MGB. So this is what's happened. Last week when I notified you, in one of the videos, we had mediation regarding the court case for the MGB. The customer has said, we'll give you X amount. And if you give us X amount, it's all over. I've basically said, no, Rev Rider, I'm making a point here. We're going to court. Absolutely fine. This week, 2 days ago, I got a letter, a county court judgment letter. The claimant has made a county court judgment because you have not. This was basically made prior to the, I think this was made prior to the mediation. He's made a request for a county court judgment because I haven't responded in time to the original claim. And I thought, well, I had. So what's going on here? So I rang up the court office, which took an hour and a quarter to get into because they're so busy. And I spoke to someone there and they said, yeah, that's it. It's been produced. And I said, well, what have I got to do? They said, well, either pay the amount with 380 odd quid by the 9th of April, which is within the month. Otherwise, the judgment will stay on your record for 6 years and you're going to struggle to get credit, which obviously means when I come to remortgage my house, blah, 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 going to be an absolute nightmare. And I thought, well, this is all very confusing. I don't understand. But basically, when you speak to them, they can help so much, but what they're saying is if it's been produced, it's gone through the court, that's the end of it. You're going to have to go to court, apply to the court for a cancellation thing, and it costs you 250 odd quid. It's going to be a nightmare. And if I can't run the risk of it being done outside the month, and then them saying, well, there's nothing we can do now, it's on the register for 6 years, it's going to be a nightmare, cost me a fortune. So I said, well, what do you suggest? They said, well, the best thing to do is go put your tail between your legs, basically, go back to the claimant, accept his offer, and just pay him, and then get him to notify us, or you notify us, that it's been paid with proof, and we will get rid of the CCJ, end of story. So I've panicked, you're going to give me a rollicking for this, and I've paid it. He's accepted it and kindly notified the court that it's been paid. So I then sent an email to the court office just clarifying that that is it now. I haven't got to do anything or apply for anything to get this CCJ removed. They then come back to me saying, well, unfortunately, the amount you've paid has been put as paid on this claim number, but there is also another claim number under the same claimant's name that is still outstanding for about 470 quid. And I thought, what the hell is going on here? So the one that they put down has been paid is the other one, not the CCJ one. And I thought, I don't understand this. So I've had to ring them again today, and again, another hour to get through, listening to some terrible classical music for an hour whilst trying to still work. And I finally got through. They've had a look and said, yeah, it does seem to be that there's 2 claims been opened under the same claimant. They've been in touch with they got in touch with the claimant afterwards, and he said, no, only open one, so I don't know what's happened there. And I said, well, what can I do? And they said, well, you can sort of you can apply to the court and blah, 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 that there's been an error, etc. Don't know. Or you can get in touch with the claimant again, ask him to log both of them as been paid and settled, and then again the CCJ's gone. So I've had to go back to the customer and ask him kindly if he could do that for me. Otherwise, I'm going to have to then apply for a certificate of dealt with. Oh, I don't know what it is. So it's been a complete nightmare, guys. It's a complete mess. Let me know down in the comments what you think that I am and what you think that I should have done and what is going on here. Why is there 2 claim numbers for the same claim saying that I owe twice the bloody money? He's done so. They've got back to me saying both claims are settled now. That's it. End of story. CCJ's disappeared and no one will see it. But I've had to pay it, which I didn't want to do because it wasn't our fault. So yeah, fire away, guys. Tell me exactly what you think. So you can see there now, look, after about 10 thou removal, we've still got that sunk down there, guys. So I'm going to give this one more cut. If it cleans up around there, I'm not too worried about this area, because if we have to start building that up with weld, then we're going to have to remove these seats, which is going to be a nightmare and obviously extra cost for the customer. So if it cleans around here, that is where the gasket seals. So I'm not going to worry too much. So I'm going to give it one more cut, guys, and then obviously I'm going to advise the customer that if it does clean, he's going to have to run a thicker head gasket. So we're looking then around 40 thou off this, maybe slightly more. So he's going to have to run about an 80 thou head gasket, which we can get from Burton. So let's give it another 3 thou. So guys, that is unfortunately a total of 15 thou we've had to take off this head now. And you can see just outside that piston damage where the gasket line is now clean, but that's 45 thou off there. So in total, this thing, yeah, 45 thou in total, so it's 15 thou we've took off. Normally it's a 1mm gasket, so I would have thought if we get the customer to buy an 80 thou gasket, which they do from Burton, and that should take it back to original compression ratio-ish, about 8:1. So yeah, slightly unfortunate, but it's a familiar story with these Cosworths. They've usually had a country mile took off the head face in the past, but then I suppose they're getting on a bit now, aren't they? A bit like me. But until then, guys, have a great weekend. We'll see you then. Take it easy.